Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I have an AV amplifier here. This is not for repair. It's a Yamaha Natural Sound AV receiver. I was actually given this free by one of the guys on the car boot sale. I buy computers from him quite often. The thing with this and similar ones, you'll see this is an old machine. There's no HDMI on this. To be quite honest, they're not worth anything. You can't really sell these because nobody wants them, basically. But does that mean it's worth nothing? Well, not necessarily, because it's got stuff inside, yeah? So let's have a look to see what sort of stuff we might get out of this, yeah? Let's salvage what we can and then see what we think it's worth when we've done that, yeah? So this is what we've got. There are quite a few boards here. They seem to be possibly plugged onto the main board, possibly attached. Not a lot on here, but I do see a nice big transformer. So this is probably the most valuable thing in here, to be quite honest. Can we see any voltage markings? Let's have a look. Well, this says AC, so this is your AC power in. But that also says transformer, that says power cord. So I'm not sure that is AC in. I think this is the AC out from the transformer. Yeah, look, live neutral. So this is your power coming in here. And then this is the output. So it looks like it just has probably a center tapped winding. Yeah, AC1, AC2 with EE, which is probably ground. Those two that say EE are probably connected to each other. I'll have a quick look actually before I start salvaging parts from this. It gives me an idea how this transformer is wired. Let's have a quick look. So, continuity. Yeah, those two are connected together. So, this should either be two separate windings once I unplug this, or it will be a single center tapped winding, okay? Maybe two separate windings. They're not very thick wires, so I doubt it's a very high current, but that is useful. And there's more wires, so we have another load here. They go down to this connector on this board. Does that tell us anything? No, but I can see two bridge rectifiers, so I can pretty much say I have two different voltage rails here. I'm not totally sure about this one down here. We'll find out, no doubt. Nice big heatsink on here. Some nice power devices, but they're just chips. They're not transistors, which would have been even nicer. But there's some voltage regulators here. So let's start taking this apart and let's see what we can get out of this for nothing, basically. Okay, so transformer, easy to mount. We know this is the AC in, so we can have a look at that when we've stripped it all down. Let's see what we have. Well, guys, we have a heap of PCBs. So we know that's useful. We'll test that in a little while and see what voltages we're getting out of that, so we can have a quick chat about that. What do we have? So, yeah, this one, well, these look like voltage regulators on here, or transistors. We can take them off and have a look, so we'll take those off. I want to keep those. The large electrolytics I usually have anyway, and there's a couple of bridge rectifiers on here. Personally, the small ones I don't tend to bother, and these small resistors because I have plenty of them anyway. So there's definitely some stuff on this one we can have. Jack socket, and these capacitors, these are a bit unusual looking. I've seen these on the other boards as well. These, I don't know if there's something special about them or they're just a old type of capacitor. But the leads are quite long on them and they're going to be easy to salvage. So those, and probably the higher power resistors I'd normally have as well. This was the power input board, so these sort of things I always find really useful when I'm working on stuff where I've taken the circuit board out of a unit and I want to actually test it to repair. And these are great because quite often you'll find ATX power supplies and such like, they'll have a connection similar to this. So if we can get that onto the connector on the PCB, it makes it easier to test. So those will just keep as they are. The rest of this board, well, relays always have. Yeah, more of these capacitors, fuses, always useful. These connectors, sometimes I'll take them off if they're easy. Yeah, this thing, I think this is just a choke. Yeah, I'm looking, there's two connections here. More connections here, but I don't think this is a transformer. I'm sure this is just a choke. We'll get it off there anyway, and we can actually test if that's a choke or a transformer. So that's something we can learn if we don't know. Okay. Just a few sockets on this one. Oh, there's a chip under here. What's this thing? These JRC chips are op amps usually, so I'll usually try and salvage them. So we'll see if we can get that off. Another one. This looks specialised. This got broken when I took it out, but I wasn't really interested in the PCB anyway. These sort of chips to me look like these sort of specialist things, so I probably won't really be interested in that at all. Again, with these sockets, if they're easy to take off, I might take some of them. These little ones, what are these? These op amps. More of these JRC chips, yeah. Hard to read that one. These are JRC. And these will be some sort of op amp again, so they're usually easy to desolder, so we can have those. We can look up and see what they actually are. All the electrolytic capacitors and things I probably won't bother with. I have loads. Well, there's some more of these capacitors down here again, and I don't have any of that type in my stash. Whether they do anything exciting, I don't know, but we can have them. A few transistors as well. This one, well, this will be probably some sort of op amp again, so let's see if we can desolder that. Couple of transistors on here. These like 1000 UF 10 volts. I have loads of these sort of capacitors, so I'm really not interested in taking them off. Again, maybe some sockets we can get from that one. Okay. The tuner, I don't think there'll be anything inside this that's of any interest. Certainly not to me, but I don't do much with RF stuff, but let's have a look. Yeah, these sort of RF, high frequency UHF type chips is not of interest to me, but if you wanted them, you know, it wouldn't be too difficult to unsolder them. It's just not the sort of thing I generally have or need. Nothing else really inside here of interest to me, but I say this is probably just what I'm into or not into, okay? I don't usually try to repair RF tuners like this. Little ceramic oscillator there, ceramic resonator, yeah, probably the value 107. That's probably 10 megahertz, just a guess, okay? They can be worth having. Up to you if you want any metal work or not. I've got quite a few of these, but actually these can be quite useful, depending on what you're doing, of course. This one, this is the DSP board. Chips too specialised for anything I want to do with it. A couple of voltage regulators down here, so I'd probably see if I could get those. Could be a MOSFET. That one's a voltage regulator for sure. Okay. This one, not certain. IC80, probably a voltage regulator again. So I'll take just a few parts from that one. Okay, so this one, this is the front panel. Yeah, this is the front panel. These are too specialised really for me to have any use for. Is this a rotary encoder? yeah, it goes around continuously, but it doesn't click. So that could well be your rotary encoder. This will be a infrared sensor. I mean, I have quite a few of these, but you might want that. Nothing on the little board. These sort of switches, they're not going to be difficult to unsolder, but I don't really see any particular use for them myself. Again, that could depend on you. So probably nothing much I'd want to take from that one. And here's the last board. So this is the amplifier board. These amplifier chips, they're kind of a bit specialized again, but I do keep them. I keep a stock of all these STK type Sanyo chips. You may want one for a repair sometime, at least that's my reasoning. And these are not particularly easy to get, so those we'll have. The heatsink is really useful, yeah. I've actually clamped that back on there again. So this belongs to it. If you fit it back on now, you're not going to lose it, yeah. Main stuff I'm interested in here, the relays. Always take relays, they're useful things. The bridge rectifier. These high wattage resistors, the large capacitors again. And yeah, this has more of these funny little capacitors on here. So I'll see if we can get some of those off. Some power transistors, they should be useful. And then we have some possible useful looking connectors on the back of here, maybe for some projects. So that's what I see. Certainly I think these will be useful if I can get them off. Okay, so let's do a bit of desoldering. I want these voltage regulators, so I need to get these capacitors out of the way anyway because I need to use hot air. So although I normally wouldn't bother to salvage them, I'm going to have these because I've got to take them off anyway, as I say. This thing, what's this thing here? ICCDC. Do you know what? I don't know, but let's get it and let's see if we can figure it out. Well, actually guys, it's an inductor, L804, that's what it actually is. Here's another way to salvage things like this. So this is quite difficult to unsolder. So what I actually did is, it was off a small PCB. I literally just cut the PCB, just used some heavy cutters, just clipped at it and it just snapped off. So I've actually got that now, just with a little bit of PCB stuck on it. Now, if you wanted to use this in your own project for some reason, you could actually just leave it like that, bolt it to the front panel, not worry about it. Another thing you can do with this is to try break up the PCB or even use a Dremel. So just for the sake of it, these are some heavy cutters, not like the normal electrical ones. We can try. So if you can get the PCB to split, or as I say, you can use a Dremel, just makes rather a lot of dust, or a hacksaw blade or something like that. Probably be better, but yeah, you see like I've broken that off now. So what I can actually do, as I'm sure you can see, is just literally unsolder this pin now. Okay, so just get hold of it. Get enough heat into it, it should just come off. Yeah. And it's actually left the leg of the component just fine there, so you've not damaged that, you've not melted any of this stuff. And we can have a go at the next one. The worst thing you might do is bend the legs a little bit. I mean, you might break it, but it was free. Yeah. You see, something like that. So yeah, it's destructive, but bear in mind we were just salvaging parts anyway. Yeah, so we can get that piece off. Yeah, it's loose. Okay. Just if you're doing this, just use some old tool or something, nothing that's valuable, yeah. Keep something for this if you like, because obviously it's not particularly good for the tools either, but it does the job. Yeah. Another one. Okay, mostly done now. And when we get something like 2 pins, we don't have to split that again. I think we can just get this off. We can manage to melt both these at the same time. Yeah, see. So, make what you want of that technique, but for salvage work, I think it's just fine. You're pretty much guaranteed to get the component you want. Okay, we bent the legs a little bit, but I really don't think that's a problem. And we can easily clean up the bits of solder. Yeah, so there you go guys, another way. This is what I thought was an inductor. Now I'm sure this is a transformer, a couple of reasons why. So one, the port number T371 sounds like a transformer. This is your power cord coming in. And then look, this is a bridge rectifier. You see the 4 diodes here? So this must be the secondary. So this is a transformer. And that's another handy thing. So let's see if we can get this off the board. We have 6 pins. I think I use solder braid with this one. I don't really want to risk damaging it. It's a useful thing to have. Okay. Yep, that's unsoldered. Okay, let's see if that'll come out. Yeah, just like that. So, in fact, now we can see there's definitely 2 windings. We know this is the primary. Again, we can easily test that, so that's very useful. So, after a bout of desoldering, and I did show you a bit of that, just some of the more interesting things we were having to desolder and techniques. This is what we have left from this. So, just basically a number of components. Takes a lot less space up than that thing did. These things, I don't actually know exactly what they are. I think they're some sort of polythene or polystyrene, some sort of plastic dielectric capacitor. I'm not sure if they're anything special or not, but I don't have any of this type. So there's quite a range there, different values. I'll sort them out. So we have those. Normally I wouldn't bother with small value capacitors salvaging because I have so many of them. But just because they look different, I decided to. And also that for salvaged parts, they have quite decent length legs on them, so they're definitely usable. So we have those. I have a few more electrolytics. Again, I wouldn't salvage these normally. I had to unsolder these ones so I could use hot air to take the voltage regulators off. So, well, if I'm unsoldering them to get them out of the way, I may as well have them, yeah. Larger electrolytics I tend to keep. So these actually do cost you a bit more money to buy. They're easy to test. We can test ESR, if they're low ESR. We can test the value quite easily. Another one, a bigger one, yeah, 6,800, 16 volt. So these large ones actually cost you some money to buy these. And they don't usually fail, but as I say, they're easy to test. Even more so with these ones. 6,863 volts. A pair of those. So those sort of capacitors I would normally salvage. Again, resistors are not something I would bother to salvage apart from power resistors, because they're so inexpensive and because I have so many of them. But these ones, you'll see these have a green leg on them. Yeah, all these have this green coloured leg. And I think that these are fusible resistors. Somebody, I'm sure, comments below. Yeah, I'm sure these are fusible resistors, and these are not quite so easy to find and more expensive. So fusible resistors, you particularly find these in amplifiers, but I'm sure elsewhere. And the idea of these is if too much current passes through, they go open like a fuse. They're made to blow like a fuse, whereas normally a resistor would just burn up with excessive current. These all seem to be low value ones, these grey bodied ones, they're all low value. Actually, I think these are low value. I think these are pretty much all low value fusible resistors, so I would definitely take those. Interesting to know what you guys think, as I said. Variable resistors, I often will salvage them, but I do have rather a lot. But this one's interesting because this continuously rotates. There was a large volume knob on the front of this, and that did just continually go round. Now, I don't think it's a encoder. It could be an encoder. Let's look at the markings on it. Yeah, there aren't any. I have rotary encoders, but they have 5 pins on them. Okay, these have 2 from the body, but I mean they actually have 5 pins on them. Let's have a look. So we'll just get a multimeter across this. Well, from one end to the other, it just reads open. Oh, well, you can see. I think this is a rotary encoder of some type. Yeah, look, it goes like short, open. Yeah, really like short, open, short, open. That's a rotary encoder, so handy things. The other resistors I liked on here were these ones. I've not seen these before. So we have 3 legs and it says 5W, so 5 watt, 0.22 ohms, K, which I think is the tolerance, 5%, X2 or times 2. I think these actually have 2 0.22 ohm resistors in them, probably common on the middle pin. 0.4, 0.2, yeah, so that's exactly what they are. They're double 0.22 ohm resistors. Never seen them before. I like them. Probably be useful, certainly if I ever find a faulty one like that. Yeah, I'm sure you can replace it with 2 single ones, but yeah, nice. All the odds and ends. Fuse. Come on, fuses are always useful, guys, yeah. Not expensive, but useful, and a pain in the ass when you need one you haven't got one. 3.15 amp. Little infrared sensor. Fun if you're building Arduino projects and that sort of thing. Okay. Inductors I always grab hold of because inductors actually can be quite expensive to buy, so we have some inductors. Just those 2 off this one. This thing, yeah, so these are, so have a look at it, should be a VDR, I think. No, it's an XY capacitor, so X1, Y2, 10 nanofarad capacitor, mains filter capacitor, handy. And amongst these odds and ends, look, even things like that, yeah, that's just the grommet on the power lead. Definitely have those sort of things. And I only took a few sockets off this one because I have so many of the phono sockets already, RCA sockets. I just have so many of these. But this one I unsoldered because these are like red, green, blue, and for some reason it might be useful for some project again. Yeah, so I had that one. Same with the jack socket. It looks like a gold-plated one. You saw me unsoldering this basically by breaking up the circuit board so I could get off in one piece. It survived very well. Again, that cost you a few euros probably. And these speaker type terminals, yeah, but you don't have to use them for speakers. You could use them for other purposes on some sort of project or other, so handy. And of course these. So these were speaker terminals, but again, if you're building your own power supplies or loads, these are very handy. That's a nice double set on one panel. So they're all individual 1, 2, 3, 4. There seems to be a ground, but I don't think, well, there isn't actually a ground on these because they're just one terminal. That might go to the 2 black ones, but we can soon test that with a multimeter. But yeah, come on, that's got to be worth having. I didn't bother to salvage any of the diodes. I've got lots of diodes, but bridge rectifiers I'll take. So there we are, a couple of bridge rectifiers and a bigger one. Yeah, these are useful components. And again, they cost you a little bit of money, these, so definitely worth having those. These small TO92 transistors, I think with these, it's kind of a thing like, what are you salvaging parts for? Because I do a lot of repair work, I'll tend to take these off boards anyway. They're very easy to test, component test it, and it's nice if you are repairing something to replace the part if it's faulty with the same type rather than an equivalent. And the only way to do that really is to have lots of these. So over the years I've always salvaged them. I keep them in little anti-static bags or an order of number order so I can find them. Okay, so these are 2SA 1266, these are a few of those, some 2SC 3198s. These are quite likely complementary NPN and PNP transistors. I don't know, I would have to look, but they probably are. Same with this, so 2SA 949 and 2SC 2705 may well be a complementary pair, so effectively the same ratings as each other, just one's NPN and one's PNP. Couple of these 2N5401. These ones 2N5551. These are quite a common transistor. These are quite commonly used in projects as well. So I think if you're doing repair work, you should always just build up a nice library of these. If not, well, just buy yourself a big bag of something like BC327 and BC337 and a few others, and you've probably got all you ever need. But these sort of transistors and devices, I always salvage them. They're more expensive to buy. And we have here not just transistors, but voltage regulators. So these two are both 5 volt positive regulators used in many, many projects. That one's 7912, so this will be a minus 12 volt regulator. Very handy. And the plus 12 volts, so a pair there. And these ones, well, these B1274, I'm guessing that's a 2SB. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it's a silicon PNP power transistor, voltage 60 volts, 3 amp, peak 8 amp. Notice these are all minus. You see this when it's PNP, like minus 60 volts, minus 3 amps. You can't really have minus 3 amps, can you? It's just 3 amps in the other direction. It's still 3 amps. Anyway, there you go. 2 watt or 20 watt dissipation. I'm guessing if it's got a heatsink on or not. But yeah, reasonable little power transistors there. So useful things to have. These ones, I think that is a voltage regulator, pretty sure. This one, I really don't know. I'm not sure we can even find anything for that one. I think this probably is a voltage regulator. I think it's probably a 3.3 volt. So like the number on there, 8533D. Yeah, possibly. This one I think we might be able to find. Let's have a look. Yeah, this one is a 1.2 volt fixed positive regulator. Okay. Yeah, there's a picture of it there, so we can see that. So we can look up the information on that. We could use that. The other one I can't actually find. So I do think it's a voltage regulator, but I don't know for certain. I'll just keep hold of that. If I ever see another one and it's faulty, then, well, I've got something the same, even if I don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. I mean, the other option would be to have a play around with it and stick voltage and ground in and see what it does. I mean, if you blow it up, wow, didn't cost you anything, did it? I have a few ICs I took from the unit. So these four, these are dual op amps. It seems this company JRC makes a lot of these. Again, useful for parts, I think, if you're doing repair work. These ones are a bit more specialised, but that one might be quite interesting. So we have a single chip tuner IC. Yeah, that's one of them. I'm not surprised because these did come out of the tuner. This one might be interesting. So this is a AM, FM, PLL frequency synthesizer chip, which might not sound so interesting, but I spotted somebody has some videos using Arduinos with these, so that could be interesting if you're a hobbyist. So I'm glad I took that actually. Yeah, simple AVR controlled FM radio receiver. So it looks like people are using Arduinos with one of these to make radio receivers. That is interesting. Yeah, I hope you think so. And the last one, this thing that I thought was probably an op amp, the single-sided one, actually isn't. It's a video switch. This is standard definition, TV, VCR. We have a data sheet, so it looks like you can select 4 video inputs, 1 output. I'm going to give this to Carlos because he's been working on some stuff on Meta Upgrade to do with video switching. He might like to play with that actually. Okay, so that's those. We have a few more IC, so yeah, we have 2 the same. This one, the legs have gone a bit bent, but guys, that's not a problem. Yeah, STK433. These will be amplifier modules. Again, we can find the data sheet for these. Well, these are probably more useful for repair work than anything else, I think. And this one, STK404. So we can take a quick look. Yeah, these are amplifier modules. I thought they were. It actually gives us the data sheet with various components we need to add to make a complete amplifier. That's for the 404. Let's look at the 433s as well. So these are something you could play around as a hobbyist if you want to play around with these sort of things. For me, maybe I'll find something that actually is worth or wants repairing that needs these. And I'm sure these are very hard to get. Okay, I'm sure these are actually very hard to find, so keep hold of them. Just a few more parts, so a couple of ceramic resonators, 10 meg I'm pretty sure, 16 meg probably. This one, crystal, what are you, 7.2. yeah, so I just keep hold of them. I mean, these things almost never fail. I don't think I've ever actually had to replace one in a faulty item. Yeah, but we have them. I tell a lie, actually, I did have to replace one once because something had corroded the boards and the legs had rotted off it. Yeah. Relays you've got to have, yeah, 24 volt, 5 amps switching, 50 volt. What are these? The all 24 volt. That's a 12 volt. The 24. So we've got a good mixture of relays here. Another 24. Is that the same? Another 24. Yeah. So plenty of relays there, handy. One of the best things we have is the heat sinks. This is just a small one, but still useful. And this really is quite a large one. These will cost you a lot of money. Yeah, always worth salvaging. I'm sure this is suitable for use in quite a lot of projects, okay? It's a good size one. And the other most valuable parts from this probably are the transformers. So this little one, in fact both of them, we'll connect them to the mains and we'll have a look to see what voltage we get coming out of these. So I'm just looking at this transformer again. I think I actually had it the wrong way round. The reason I realised this is because there's a much larger winding on here than here, and you'd expect this to be a step down transformer with more turns on the primary winding, also the thinner winding. We can see actually, yeah, the winding goes to this pin and this pin. If you look at the place it came off the PCB, yeah, that exactly lines up. Okay. And this is your mains input. This is where the fuse was. Yeah, it just says transformer there, power cord. Yeah, power cord. So that is definitely the input on this one, those 2 pins. So we'll do that. This has a single output, the output kind of being where the bridge rectifier is, so you'd also expect that. So let's get some leads and power this up. Here's the large transformer. Another way of finding the primary, if you don't know, is to measure the resistance across the windings. And the one with the highest resistance should be the primary. Yeah, should be the primary. So that is reading about 6. Okay. This reads 0.8. 0.8. 1.3. That's probably a center tap on that, those two together, both read 0.8. And then we have some more, so it looks like we have 3 more outputs here. So this one reads 1.7, the 2 purple ones, 1, and then it looks like we have blue, black, blue. So this would be a center tap, I would think. So from black to one of the bluest 2, to the other bluest 2, and across the 2 blue are 4 or 3.4. So I'd say that's a center tap with the 2 outputs, and then these are outputs, and then this is the highest resistance, and this is the input. So let's have a look to see what we have here. This looks like a center tapped output, and this went down to like where the main or the larger bridge rectifiers were, so this will be probably the higher voltage, higher current supply to those Sanyo amplifier modules. What have we got? Yeah, we got a 33 volt, and there's going to be another one. Yeah, and then across the two will be 66. Yeah, so it's like a plus and minus 32, 33 volt supply. What you'd expect for an amplifier, really. We have the 2 yellow ones. So these ones, let's see. That's a 5 volt supply. The purple ones, 12 volt or 24 volt. I mean, we had some 24 volt and 12 volt relays. So have a look. 10. That's probably like a 9 volt supply, really. I suppose the peak when it's charged up on the capacitor could be 12. And then it looks like we have a center tapped here, the black and the 2 blues. I wouldn't be surprised to find this is plus and minus 15, because that's used a lot in audio circuits with op amps in particular. Yeah, 15 volts, and the other one I'm sure will be. It's also 15 volts. So what we have here is a plus and minus 15, a 10, thereabouts, a 5, and a plus and minus 33, that sort of thing. So that's what's on the transformer. Another way we might just be able to find the current ratings of this is from these part numbers. We can have a quick look. We know the make by the looks of it. But it's probably not a very high power transformer, and that's simply because the wires are not very thick. But I knew you guys would be interested. Yeah. Can we measure the current rating of a transformer if we don't know what it is? Looking this up didn't help me. Maybe somebody's better than me at that, but I was interested myself because I don't actually really know how to do this. But having Googled like you guys could, no doubt, there are some ideas. So do you want to try it on another video? Shall we see if we can work out roughly what the rated output of this transformer is? I think so. Let me know down there, yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that teardown. Some of you did ask for it. If we can call it a teardown, it was more of a demolition. You can see what we got out of the unit. Well, I think some quite good bits. I think if you're given something like that for free, it's well worth it. If you're going to pay anything for it, don't pay much at all, and probably only if you want like the big heat sinks and transformers, and then it's probably worth €10 or something to you, yeah? Probably more if you really want the transformer. Okay, that's enough for this one then. I look forward to seeing you all soon on another learning electronics repair video. Ciao for now, guys.